What's up, everyone? How's it going? It's Swebe, and I'm here to talk to you about the patch notes that just came out and the massive Battlegrounds updates. First, I want to say congratulations to Waterloo for winning Lobby Legends Eternal Night, and we also saw 8 reveals between Friday and Saturday of new minions and a new hero coming to the Battlegrounds. So let's go over all of those things right now. Let's get into it. Lady Vash is back in the Battlegrounds with a brand new hero power that costs 1 called Relics of the Deep. You discover a spellcraft spell of your tavern tier or below, and additionally, a passive part of her hero power is that the first spellcraft spell you play each turn is permanent. This is like Lava Lurker, but for literally any minion you want to target. I think this is going to be kind of busted. It depends on her armor tier and how much armor she receives, but I really feel like this is going to be pretty disgusting. Moving on to the minions, let's start with our tier 1s. This is Silverback Patriarch, a 1/4 taunt that is a beast. I mean, I feel like this is just good economy, good base stats. We've seen 1/4 in tier 1 pretty often. Just the fact of adding a beast to tier 1 is kind of interesting. I mean, it might help with Hyena in like the early turns. It's kind of interesting to muddy the pool a little bit in terms of, you know, when you're playing any hero that wants to try to find Alley Cat specifically, that is going to be pretty challenging when you add another unit. Next, we have a neutral tier 1 called Tavern Tipper. If you have any unspent gold at the end of your turn, gain +1/+2. There are obvious heroes that are going to benefit from this, such as Yogg, assuming that you actually hit the Tavern Tipper. Imagine actually hitting Tavern Tipper as Yogg. That would be so gross because you get the Yogg stats and then additionally the buffs. Wow. Okay. Also Zarella, who can do that 2 cost but actually target. Millhouse, which sometimes you don't get the best roll on turn 1. And Lich Basial, who you get the gold to your hand with the hero power. So I think that there's a few heroes that will greatly benefit from Tavern Tipper. I also think that it'll create some interesting scenarios for early game lines because you can rely on a large scaling unit. So I'm excited to try to find a line that works really well for her in just a standard hero. Moving on to our tier 2s, we start with our sparring partner. This is also a neutral minion. It's a 3/2 taunt that has a battle cry of giving a minion taunt. This feels like Argus. It is Argus, but on tier 2. Quite interesting. Moving on, we have the Kooky Chemist, which is also a tier 2, and it has a battle cry that is disgustingly busted and going to be absolutely abused, which is swap the attack and health of a minion. Like, imagine playing Pyramid and using Kooky Chemist. Imagine playing Pyramid with a Chroma Wing and using Kooky Chemist. Pyramid? I see your worth now. I see it. It's there. Next, we have tier 2 Urel. Urel is a 1/5 minion with the text reading, after this attacks, give a friendly minion of each minion type +1/+2. Now, this is noted that it is not permanent, so that would be so gross if it was permanent. So it's only during combat. There's going to be heroes that benefit from it more. I personally love a menagerie comp, and I feel like Urel kind of supports an early game menagerie, so pretty interested in seeing how she works. Her golden version gives +2/+4, and like obviously like Terragosa would keep those buffs, but every other minion would not. But kind of interesting to run Terragosa in a Urel comp. I think that there's a way to build a comp specifically around her, and I'm excited to find it. That was everything for Friday. Now let's move on to Saturday. Saturdays were a little bit more spicy. We got some higher taverns here, minion reveals. The first one is a tier 4 dragon called Atromides, I think is how you say it. It's a 3/6 base stat where it says whenever this attacks, deal 3 damage to the target and its neighbors. So it's like basically like a little teeny tiny cleave. Looks like a really good way to remove divine shields. Also, the fact that it deals 3 damage means that it can target a Leroy and remove a Leroy should it not be cleave protected. So it is a dragon, but like it doesn't seem to play with the other dragons. Like on the playground, that is the battleground battlefield. Also notably, the golden version doesn't deal 6 damage, but it deals 3 damage twice. Yeah, this really feels like more of a tech than anything else, really. It doesn't feel like like you could maybe run it in like a nice menagerie comp. Like this could be, you could run like a full cleave comp between the Hydra, the foe, Atromides, and Wildfire. That would be pretty interesting. Atromides being the weakest of all, but maybe running it first to remove whatever shields or remove whatever cleave protection. That would be kind of fun. Maybe I'm gonna try this. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't stand out as anything really remarkable to me. I like that it's 3 damage for the sake of Acolyte being at 3 health, Leroy being at 2 health. I guess we'll just have to see on this one how much of an impact it actually makes. Moving on, we have a minion that I don't know if I like yet. It's a tier 4. It's called Tunnel Blaster. It's a 3/7 base stat, which is quite high in my opinion. It is a taunt, and the death rattle is deal 3 damage to all minions. So it is a very, very big version of Ghoul. Also, it is a neutral minion. And just like Atromides, you deal 3 damage twice as opposed to dealing 6 damage. So big, chunky Ghoul. There are heroes that can like make those stats a little bit lower and make it very similar to a Ghoul, but I don't love this minion. I don't hate it. I get it. Same thing with the 3 damage as I said about Atromides, like the fact that Acolyte can be fully removed with this minion is interesting, as well as Leroy would be fully removed as well without any really big impact. It's like playing a Golden Ghoul right now, removing a Leroy because the minion that kills the Leroy is dead. We're just gonna have to see this one in play because I have feelings about it that aren't like, yes, I love this. So I'm hoping that I will when I see it in play. Moving on, we have our tier 4 mech. This is called Wargear, and this is another standard minion. It is a 5/5 base stat, and it is magnetic. We only have 2 magnetic units right now, Annoyo Module and Replicating Menace. So pretty interesting that we have another tier 4 magnetic. Being able to buff up some stats seems like really a nice thing with this Wargear. Also kind of interesting that it doesn't really come with anything. Right now, Replicating Menace gives you like a package of summoning more things from whatever you stick the Replicating Menace on. Module gives you a Divine Shield Taunt. This is specifically just stats. So you're giving 5/5 to something, which, you know, you attach that to a Deflecto, you're not going to be too mad about it. And last but not least from the reveals this weekend, this is a minion created for Battlegrounds. So this is not pulling from any other game mode. This is Uther, the Lightbringer. Tier 6 minion. Really interesting battle cry. Battle cry is set a minion's attack and health to 15. Specifically to 15. So I feel like this is a nice method to play around a zap. The golden version sets a minion's attack and health to 30. Feels like a really good tech card. I feel like tier 6 is turning into a good amount of tech between Mantid Queen, Zap, Gas Coiler. There's a lot of ways to kind of find an end game if you didn't find an end game prior. The fact that it's 15 is very interesting to me. Like I said, you can tech something, so like you really need a Hydra that's not going to die immediately, so you can play Uther on your Hydra. The base stat of the minion itself is 5/6, and it is a neutral minion, so it can't get buffed itself, and if you want to like take the time to triple it and leave 2 on your board, it does feel a little bit bad. Notably, it is a battle cry, but it doesn't play with Bran because it specifically sets it to a certain amount, not doubling or some kind of variable amount. So Bran has nothing to do with this battle cry, specifically 15 attack and health. Another one that we're just going to have to see in play. I do think it's going to be a really good unit to help, you know, bolster a comp or tech around what your opponents are doing. Make your Baron unzappable. So like I said, those were all the reveals from Lobby Legends this weekend, revealed to us by Gia and Educated Collins. They did a fantastic job. Again, huge congrats to all the competitors. Waterloo getting that first, but really well done by everyone. Let's start with our hero changes. First is Bigglesworth. I think this is a really good functional hero change. Bigglesworth's hero power will now give a consolation coin whenever a player dies with no minions. We know that there's people that have sold their entire board to avoid giving Bigglesworth a minion because they knew they were going to die. We know there's people that quit a game immediately, so that person is now one less discover for Bigglesworth later on, and also eliminates the damage cap, which could be either a really good thing or really bad thing when you play Bigglesworth. But getting this coin feels like a good tempo thing to do, and I like it. Cariel Rome getting a buff, now targeting more minions per phase of hero power. Phase 1 gives you 2 random friendly minions, phase 2 gives you 4 random friendly minions, and phase 3 gives you all of your minions. So that's at Tavern Tier 1, Tavern Tier 3, and Tavern Tier 5. Drekthar and Vandar both got a pretty interesting change, which feels good for like early turns. but not necessarily for entire game. Drekthar and Vandar both had a change in their text where it targets your minion to it targets the minion. So now it can target minions in the shop as well in terms of highest attack and highest health. Drekthar highest attack, Vandar highest health. Guff got buff again. Guff moved from armor tier 7 to armor tier 4. And the old version was 1 gold and you give a minion of each tavern tier +1/+1. Now it's 2 gold and you give a minion from each tavern tier +3/+2. I'm quite excited about this. And also this means that you can buff neutral minions with Guff as well. Let's keep that in mind because we just got a whole lot of neutral minions added to our Battlegrounds pool. Guff is buff again. Overlord Sarfang got a little bit of a buff as well. The old version was give +2 attack to the next minion you buy this turn, upgrades each turn. The new version is give +2 attack to the next minion you buy, still upgrades each turn, and this carries on between turns. Syndragosa didn't get a buff or a nerf, just a little functional text change to kind of clarify what part of the hero power is passive and what part is active in terms of you freezing a minion. Sneed got an interesting change. Used to be armor tier 7 is now armor tier 1, which is a very drastic change. The old version was 2 gold and Death Rattle summon a minion of the same tavern tier. Now it costs 1 gold and summons a minion of a lower tavern tier. Now just to clarify, this is directly lower. So if it's a 4, it summons a 3. If it's a 3, it summons a 2. I don't know if I feel like this is enough of a change to justify that big of a change between armor tiers. I know that it's better costing 1 gold than 2, obviously, but like it does feel a little bit bad. Like for instance, a lot of Sneed's ability right now kind of people rely on the fact that you can summon Leroy's, right? That's a thing that Sneed can do. But now you have to get 6 drops to summon Leroy. So it feels a little bit less good. I don't know. We'll have to try. The Asheraj got a bit of a rewording, which is a huge buff in my opinion. The old version was start of combat, you summon a minion of your tavern tier and you add it to your hand. Now the text got flipped, where you add a minion from your tavern tier you hand and summon a copy of it. Regardless of if you have room on your board or not, this means that the minion is always added to your hand, even if you don't summon a copy of it. This does feel really good, especially for late game when you're on tier 6 and you want to just try to discover things and you don't want to leave it up to the liability of, okay, this minion's not going to fit in my comp. I'm going to have to run 6 minions and try and hope. So this is really, really helpful, I think, for Asheraj. Quite a big buff. Now we are into the minion pool updates. I'm really excited about this. Shifter Zeus and Iron Sensei are back. I feel like I didn't get my prime time with Shifter Zeus. And if you don't know what Shifter Zeus is, it's every turn it is in your hand, it shifts into another minion. So you can use it if you want to, or you can wait until it shifts into the next minion the next turn. And it's just bonkers and so much fun. If you manage to golden one, which means you have to find 3 in 1 turn to golden it, it does turn into a golden version of a unit every single turn. That's now my goal, officially. Declaring it right here. You heard it here first. I am getting a golden Shifter Zeus in the first week that we have Shifter Zeus to play with. It's happening. Also, I'm a big fan of Iron Sensei. I think Iron Sensei was a really great way to buff mechs and a really great addition to a mech board. I think this is fantastic. Okay, there are so many removals, and a lot of them we probably guessed after going through Lobby Legends reveals, so let's go through them now. Acolyte of Cthulhu is gone. I'm sad about it. I loved Acolyte. Easily one of the best units in the game, so goodbye Acolyte. Menagerie Mug also gone. Unstable Ghoul gone. Budding Green Thumb gone. So Mug, it's funny because Mug is gone on tier 2, which I imagine Urel is kind of the idea behind that. And Jug is still there. Jug has not been removed, so Mug is gone on tier 2. Unstable Ghoul, we kind of assumed with the bomb minion, the tier 4 3/7 minion, I think we all kind of guessed that Ghoul was heading out here. Budding Green Thumb, we have this Uther to buff minions and tech around things. Interesting that Green Thumb is gone. Screwjank Clunker is gone, but we have Iron Sensei, so it's fine. Prestor's Pyro Spawn is gone. This was a big point of contention for so many people because it just made Divine Shields completely irrelevant. But I felt like dragons had been moderately nerfed. Well, not nerfed, but just weren't able to keep up in the meta. So I didn't feel like Pyrospawn had been an issue as of late, but I can totally understand it being an issue. And I think Atromides is going to be really interesting in place of Pyrospawn. Defender of Argus is gone, but we do have that tier 2 taunt that gives another minion taunt. The fact that you can't taunt 2 units at once does feel slightly bad, but I don't think it's necessarily the worst thing. And last but not least, Mechano Egg is gone. I didn't see Mechano Egg as a big issue, but sad to see it go. I did like summoning an 8/8, but it looks like mech are just getting massive amounts of buffs anyway between the Wargear and Iron Sensei coming back, so I'm happy. We have some minion updates. Banner Boar. I really like this update. Okay, so Banner Boar is now a 1/3. And at the end of your turn, play a blood gem on adjacent minions, not Quillbore. So Banner Boar can now play a blood gem on any minion. I love this. Battlemaster was 3 attack, now it is 5 attack. This makes it feel a lot more viable, which, you know, it already was viable, and it felt pretty good to have the Soul Devourer on the Battlemaster, but that and just base of 3 attack would feel a lot better at 5. Soul Devourer got a bit of a text reword, not a functional change, still does the same thing. It used to say, choose a friendly demon, remove it to gain its stats and 3 gold. Now it says, consume a friendly demon to gain its stats and 3 gold. Last but not least, this is a big change, probably the biggest change we have seen yet. Greasebot is going to Tavern Tier 6. It is now a 4/7, and after a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, it gets +3/+2 permanently. That's a really big change. So it's not +1/+1 anymore. It is +3/+2. The fact that it's going up 2 tavern tiers is really interesting to me. I feel like this maybe might not be the best thing on tier 6. Like if I had to pick between a Greasebot and a Omega Buster, I'd definitely pick an Omega Buster. That being said, like it will feel a lot better to play Divine Shields. Like the first thing I think about when I go into a lobby and I see that mechs are in, I look and see if dragons are in, specifically because of Pyrospawn. Now that Pyrospawn is not going to be able to do that anymore, I think that maybe this will feel good. I'm really excited to try this. So that is everything for the patch notes and also all of the reveals. I almost forgot to mention, in 25% of the games, Dark Moon prizes are coming back. I'm really excited for Ticketus here because I really enjoyed Ticketus with 2 discovers. And also, notably, the players in the bottom half of the lobby are now not guaranteed to get better prizes as they were last time around. This patch is going live today. So buckle in, get ready. We are going down this rabbit hole of so many changes. I'm so excited for it. I will see you all in the Battlegrounds. If you liked this video, remember to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think is going to be absolutely disgusting. If you think there's a new comp that's going to show up, if you think that maybe all these neutral minions, I wish Tyrion were back. But if you think that all these neutral minions are going to be any specific kind of comp, or if you see something busted with an interaction with a current minion and one of the new ones, let me know. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Enjoy the new patch. Bye.